docking procedure. Good job.
Good to go.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Models and Movies. This is the 20th episode.
Is that right?
Sure, 20th episode. And with me today, she's finally come to do a show. It's Belinda.
Hi.
That's all.
That's
It's just Belinda. Belinda and I have been shooting together for a year, maybe more than that. We've shot several times.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's also a makeup artist and a fantastic hair stylist as well. And do you give out your Instagram?
Yeah. So to look at all my hair and makeup stuff is Florida Beauty 813 on Instagram or Facebook.
But nobody cares about that. Where do they see the really good pictures of you?
Belinda.Lynette.
It's on the screen, so you can look it up there, and it's really fantastic. And you're also kind of seeing a couple of the images that we've done over the last year and a half, maybe 2 years. I don't really remember how I even met you. I mean, through a body painter, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, maybe you're seeing one of those body paint pictures in the background here. Anyway, she is super nice, and she drives a long way all the time to come and see me and do me favors, and she's doing this favor for me, the 20th episode of Models and Movies.
Yay.
And what movie did we watch?
A Serbian film.
That's right. We watched a Serbian film, which is basically a film, it's kind of an art house film about the trials and tribulations of a youth growing up in Serbia. And that's not what we watched. Nope.
No.
What did we watch?
Excision?
Something like that. It's called Excision.
Excision.
Yeah.
Excision.
It's a movie very few people have even heard about because I don't remember it ever being in the theaters.
No.
And I just happened to find this on, I guess it was Amazon Film Movies or whatever. And I saw it and I thought, this looks really cool. And so we watched that. We're going to talk about that in a minute because first of all,
Yes.
we have to watch me drink beer of the show.
Beer of the show.
Beer of the show. And today's beer of the show, it's called Be Mine.
Aww.
Because I will say we're filming this on February 12th. So Valentine's Day is right around the corner. So if you want to send me something really nice, you only got a couple more days to do it.
Me too.
Oh yes, I'm sorry, Belinda. If you want to send Belinda something nice, she deserves it really. So I got you all of these Kisses and Dove candies. So
Chocolate.
that's all for you.
Thank you.
All right. So we're gonna try this Be Mine. This is called a dark, disgusting, delicious super beer. As always, pour as much or as little as you like.
As little.
I believe there is chocolate in this.
Just kidding.
And yes, let's taste. Thank you so much for coming. I kind of like it.
Tastes like beer.
No.
I don't drink, so it tastes like beer.
Oh, I didn't know you didn't drink. Okay, well, you've tasted the beer. Now you're finished with your...
This was delicious.
Thank you. Your responsibilities are over.
Back to the show.
Like last week, this is like a quadruple something or other, and it's 10.9% alcohol. It's ridiculous. Okay, so we're gonna watch me get drunk through this show. All right, so Excision.
Excision.
What did...
Amazing.
Say that you were a very troubled little girl.
I don't believe her when she says that.
I thought it was pretty cool though. It was a good pick. You picked a very good movie.
Well, let's. I'll go back a little bit. You said you wanted to see a horror film.
Yes.
Yes, and I am more than willing to, give the people what they want.
Nice.
So, there you have it. I did not want to pick a crappy horror film because I think we're doing that next show. So stay tuned for that. So we watched Excision. Now, what would you say, Belinda, was the plot of Excision?
Mental issues. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So there was a family and a girl going through some sort of a thing.
Can you contract an STD from having sex with a dead person?
What sort of a thing was she going through, would you say?
So she definitely has psychological issues of her own, and I do believe that her parents do kind of add to it, honestly.
Yes, her family dynamic was very, very bizarre.
Her mom was a
Mother was very overbearing, had religious undertones.
yes.
Her father was very absent. So yes, she had some confusion between sexuality and morbidity, and she was having all these weird fantasies while she was masturbating and just
Dreaming too, like in her
Yeah,
dreams,
yep.
she would just be
She-
coming up with some crazy stuff and licking people.
What was that for?
Oh yeah, well, no, she only licked the one person, her sister,
No, she
right?
was. I thought when she was like crawling over them, she was like,
Oh,
taking licks,
that
too.
was in her dreams though. Yeah, okay.
oh, is that why she licked her sis?
No, she read about that, so we'll get to that
Yeah.
later. But yeah, so she has a sister who's very normal, except that she has cystic fibrosis,
Yes.
and she's very, very ill. And then
She ends up needing a lung transplant.
yeah, her organs are starting to break down, and they get bad news toward the end, and it's going downhill very quickly.
You have to watch it.
I'm not ready to say that yet,
Yes.
but we'll get
Yes.
there. Then there were a couple other situations where she may have had like mental problems as far as like Asperger's goes, because she was very, very awkward
Yeah.
socially.
Ew. Don't sit next to me.
She is very intelligent, it seemed.
I don't
What-
believe that
What
for
she
sure.
and
She believed that she was intelligent.
she did believe that she was intelligent.
Yeah, so that's roughly the plot. It's not a whole lot there. I mean, there wasn't a whole
Yeah.
lot there. It was more, this was character driven. This was written very uniquely.
Yeah.
It was quirky. I'm not familiar with the writer, who is also the director of this film, but he certainly had a vision, and I believe he got the performances out of the actors that he was looking for, because it was an interesting film to watch. I'll definitely say that.
That was a great movie.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the characters of the film. So we'll talk about the main protagonist, and her name was what?
Pauline?
Pauline. So Pauline is a very ugly adolescent girl, and I'm sure she's not ugly, but they sure made her ugly in this film.
Oh, she looked very sick from the outside.
Yeah, and that was obviously a stylistic choice, because
Yeah.
I'm sure she didn't have that acne through the entire filming of the film.
Yeah.
They obviously had to put that on her, and then there were the dream sequences where she was a completely different looking person.
She was almost beautiful
Yes,
and hot in
yeah.
those.
So very good job. I imagine you appreciated it from a makeup and a hair perspective.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Have you ever been tasked to make somebody ugly?
Not yet.
Okay, well,
I don't
I'll write a film with an ugly character and have you come on to make that person ugly. Okay.
Perfect.
And then her sister's name was
Gracie.
Grace. Yes, so Grace was the most normal character in the entire film, I believe.
Yeah. Battling
She-
her.
Yeah, she was just a
cystic fibrosis.
15-year-old girl trying to be a 15-year-old girl, and
Yeah.
she was constantly on like a respirator to keep her breathing well and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With her cystic fibrosis. Her father's name is Bob,
Bob.
which I believe was done on purpose. Whoops, the volume came up there. Bob is an extremely generic name, and he was a generic character, a generic father,
Yeah.
except for the fact that he was just sort of absent. He was just
there.
yeah, he was just there because they needed a father character there. He did nothing. He contributed really nothing to the plot or the story.
Added space.
Yeah. Just because they needed a father character. I mean, he had a few funny looks and stuff like that at dinners.
Yeah.
They ate a lot of dinners in this film.
They did actually.
A lot of scenes
did.
happened at the dinner table, which was weird.
You know, I feel like they possibly put him in there to show more of the mother's character.
Oh,
how
yeah.
she is. So-
Absolutely.
You ruined your face?
Did you sterilize the needle?
What if it gets infected? I used antiseptic.
You know, I pierced a few things when I was younger, too.
Definitely.
As a
filling that.
complete opposite of the over-controlling, overbearing mother character.
Exactly.
And what was the mother's name? Do you remember? I never wrote it down because I never heard it
I didn't hear it
spoken.
either.
Mom is her name. Played by the very interestingly cast Tracy Lords, who you may or may not recognize as a porn actress from the 80s. She was in several films through the 90s and through the 2000s, and she ended up in this film as a
Overbearing mom.
menopausal, overbearing, loveless woman who
Yeah.
was trying to keep control of her family and not doing a very good job at it.
I feel like in her head she knows like she's not a good mom.
There was one tiny little scene in there where she talked about her mother, about not forgiving or trying to forgive her mother
Yeah.
for something.
My mother hurt me more than words can say. I'm still trying to forgive her for that.
I didn't really pay 100% attention to that, so I don't know
Yeah.
what that was. But apparently this is a hereditary trait of control and whatever going through this.
Passing it down.
Yeah, well, that's the way that works, you know. I've witnessed it in my own
I think
life.
everybody does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try hard as you can not to be your parents, but you end up there anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we have a few other characters in this film. We have Adam.
Adam.
Who is Adam?
Adam is, he's about the same age as she was, right?
Mm-hmm.
About the same age. He already had his girlfriend though.
Mm-hmm.
And just a random guy that
She chose.
she chose. Literally.
A very awkward scene
Awkward.
at the bleachers where a few other awkward scenes happen where Pauline comes up to Adam and bluntly says,
I want to lose my virginity to you. I'm clean and I just put my allowances on birth control.
here's my number.
Here's my number.
And you said you're going to try that.
I'm gonna try that.
See,
It's
well,
my pickup line.
please
from
report
now
back to
on.
us to let us know how that worked out for you.
I will.
Okay. And then we have the church psychologist, and he is played by John Waters, if you believe this or not. John Waters, of course, the very famous character actor, and you all know who he is. He does The Creep.
Yeah. Hi, I'm John Waters, and this is The Creep.
Do you know The Creep? I'm playing it right now. You're not.
When you're out at a club and you see a fly girl, do the creep, and do the creep.
Oh, sorry.
Editing. I do it all in editing.
I know.
It's a song by The Lonely Island. Anyway, it's John Waters and he does The Creep. Yes, and then he is just like you would expect any church psychologist to be, completely useless.
That like single hair. I don't know if they drew that in. mustache?
That's his trademark. That is, he's
That-
always
he's
had that
always
his
had
entire
that?
life, and that's, yep. And then finally we have the girl next door.
Yeah, the jump rope
Don't
girl
remember her name.
across the street. I don't think they
No?
gave her name.
Okay, so the jump rope girl.
Yeah.
She would just jump rope across the street
Yeah, she was
on the sidewalk at her driveway.
great
And she would-
jump roper.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, she was
Amazing.
very good at jump roping. Anyway, she was. I guess there was like some tension between Pauline,
Yeah.
and this jump rope girl. But that kind of plays into the end, which we'll get to
Yeah.
in the spoilers section of this review. And then finally, the last person that I wanted to talk about was the principal of the school, who is played by Ray Wise, who also played Leland in Twin Peaks. he's one of my more favorite actors of all time, and I'm just really glad to see him in this film. Oh my gosh! And then there's the teacher, who is played by Malcolm McDowell. There are names in this film that I don't know how they got them. I don't know. I mean, they all must have worked for scale, because this was a low-budget film, and you could tell there. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But it was just, they didn't have the budget to do a lot of the things that they wanted to do, I think. Am I missing any characters? Oh well, this
Natalie.
Yeah, Natalie was
Adam's girl.
Yeah, so there were popular girls in this film as well. Natalie was kind of Pauline's lab partner in one of the...
I think so.
Something like that. She was stuck sitting next to her in class, and then there was another girl who was there when Natalie wasn't there.
Yeah.
So there was a clique of very popular, very attractive girls in the high school that obviously Pauline did not mesh well with. How was high school for you? Were you one of the popular girls?
I wasn't popular,
you were a cheerleader,
but I wasn't like...
You were a cheerleader. You were popular. You were popular.
But I wasn't like one of those like popular girls that, you know, after school got on bad drugs and got fat.
Oh. Okay, those girls got fat?
I mean, or got like strung out, or, you know, they're not so cute now.
Well, you escaped high school. Good for you.
Escaped high school.
And people of the world out there, if you could just tell, you know, your kids, all you got to do is survive high school.
Yeah.
And then once you're done with high school, life gets better. That's all you got to tell people.
Yep.
Just survive. Anyway.
Keep on keeping on.
Keep
Joe
on
Dirt.
trucking. That's that bumper sticker. Keep on trucking.
Keep on trucking.
From the 70s. So let's talk about the quality of the film then, since we're done with characters now. What did you think of the quality of the film?
I thought it was pretty decent.
Kind of we break it down. I break it down into like the quality of the video, the quality of the sound, and then music or scoring that's in the film. So visually, what did you think?
Visually, definitely kept me watching. I don't know if that was more so the storyline or...
Yeah. I think visually this was just kind of there. There wasn't anything that was like, oh my God, that's horrible. But there was nothing that was like, oh my God, wow, that was beautiful, that was well done.
Some parts were a little awkward to me. Like it just jumped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There were some interesting editing choices made. And in her dream sequences, they tried to be very avant-garde. They tried to be very artistic.
Yes.
Some of that worked, some of it not so much. Again, and I'll repeat this, I believe that they just didn't have the budget to make the film that the director wanted to make, so they had to make a lot of sacrifices when they were making this film. A lot of the sets felt small. A lot of the film was done in one house.
Yeah.
So I really feel like they wanted to make a bigger movie, but they just didn't have the budget to do so. Okay, well then that goes into the sound then. Now, I need to apologize. I think there was something weird going on with my sound system because it sounded... and then what did you think about the music in the film?
Music was good for some of the scenes, yes.
I was surprised that a lot of the scenes had no music whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like a lot of films that you see has scoring through the entire film.
To make you jump and stuff.
Either that or to set a mood or to set a tone or something like that. In this film, there just wasn't a whole lot of that. They had long scenes where there just wasn't any music whatsoever.
More like making you watch like in depth what was going on.
Yeah, and I think
especially
that was
when she's like climbing over.
I think that was done on purpose. Yeah. Which is, it's good filmmaking if you're using those elements in a way that makes the viewer pay more attention to what's going on. So that's, well done. Okay. All right, so that's the quality of the film. We're just ripping right through this stuff.
Let's do it.
What'd you think of the special effects?
Special effects.
Yeah.
Like when
there were some special effects in this.
Some.
I mean, there weren't explosions and robots, but I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, everything is special effects when you're talking about blood and body parts and stuff like that.
So I definitely loved her imagery when she was dreaming and stuff like that. All the different gory scenes and stuff, that was really good. I did like that.
This is not a traditional horror film so
No.
much. It's more of a psychological horror.
Yep.
You know, Silence of the Lambs was not so gory, but it was scary as fuck. Because, you know, you were afraid of things that were happening. In this film, you were afraid as to where it was going. And you kind of figured it out right toward the end.
Yeah.
And, and it got bad, sad at the end, because you could feel this Pauline character going into a hole, and there was nothing that would stop her because she had a plan. She was going to do good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she did not have the talent or the ability to do good, and it turned out very, very, very bad.
Very bad.
So yes, there were some really great gore effects. Some were marginal. Like there was a scene where there was a person with only half a head, and it looked like it was just masked off, and I could do that in After Effects. I mean, I could have done a reasonably good job with that scene. But then there was another scene where she was holding her own severed head. Was that her holding her own severed head?
I think it was.
Or was that a different person? The makeup was so good in this film that it was very difficult to tell if it was the original actress or not, because it was they did
some
such
of
a good
them I
job.
was like, man, she's beautiful there, and then some I'm like,
Is that even
could
her?
be a
I don't know.
different person,
Right. So yeah, we believe there was a scene where she pulled her own head out of a body cavity, and that was kind of cool. And then there was a bird dissection.
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty gross. And it was funny. There was one scene that made you cringe, and that's when she, and I'll ruin this scene, she pulled out her tampon and sniffed it. And you were just like, oh!
That was so gross.
Well, I don't know. I would imagine that girls do that at some point.
Why would you sniff?
Why would you look at your own toilet paper?
That's true. To make sure your butt's clean.
People do weird stuff. I mean, it's just... And this film did not hold back on the weird stuff that some people might do. And that makes me wonder, how did this guy write this story?
What has he been around? What?
I don't know, because that's weird. Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the spoilers of this movie then, about kind of how it ends. So Pauline is not a stupid person. She's actually very smart, smarter than she thinks, but she's very smart. And she, toward the end, wants to help her sister, Grace. And the only way she believes that she can help Grace is by doing a surgery on her. Now Pauline has wanted to be a surgeon through this entire film. That's what she's that's really what she wants to do with her life. And at the very end, she decides that she's going to, after she learns that Grace needs a transplant for her lung.
Oh, she was even going to the library to research that.
Yeah, she skipped school.
To
go to the library to research how to do these procedures.
Yeah.
And she made a big plan to drug her father, and then to kidnap the jump rope girl from across the street.
Yes.
And then to sedate her sister in a pretty violent way.
Yeah.
Which I need to say something about this film. The acting in it is fantastic.
I loved it.
Everything that happens is absolutely believable. Like, there's a lot of films where you take the sodium whatever and you put it on somebody's face, and in 3 seconds they're like, and they're just out. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's not the way that works. These people struggled for
they fought
20, 30 seconds during the scene of them losing losing strength and then going limp and stuff like that. So kudos for the director who directed these actors to really do a fantastic job of making it look real.
That was, Gracie's
was painful to watch.
Gracie's was, especially knowing her, CF and needing the lung transplant, and then her
and
huffing.
kind of knowing where this was going, watching that happen was pretty painful.
Definitely.
So then basically what happens is she attempts to do a lung transplant from the jump rope girl into Grace. It does not go well. It's not, as it turns out, it's not like Legos. You can't just pick one piece out and put it in the other and expect everything to work.
I mean, she was very happy with her suture skills.
Oh yeah.
Because she practiced.
And I believe that goes to the mental illness inside of Pauline, where she got too wrapped up in the details of the procedure and didn't see the bigger picture of she just killed her sister.
Yeah.
And the jump rope girl.
Oh, she didn't care.
Yeah,
about the
well,
jump
nobody
rope
cared
girl.
about the jump rope girl, but she's somebody's daughter.
Yep.
Anyway,
she's a good jump roper.
She jump roped the crap out of that. Yeah. All right, so that's basically the whole movie. Now, Belinda, does this movie work?
I was kind of pissed at the end.
Were you? Yeah.
Just because,
you didn't want it to see. You didn't want to see it end like that.
I didn't want to see it end like that. I wanted to know what happens next, because if I came in on my daughter's.
That's a good point. We should mention that this ends very abruptly, with the mother coming home and discovering
looking for Gracie.
Looking
for Gracie.
Well, she comes home to Bob being tied up on the couch, freaks out because she can't find Grace, she can't find Pauline, and her husband's tied up and gagged, so he can't even say what's going on. So she's running around the house trying to find anything. She's freaking out. She goes into the garage where the procedure was taking place, and there's two dead girls
just laying there.
Yep.
And her daughter.
Her daughter, who has shaved all her hair off.
All of her hair
which
off.
was inexplicable. I don't know why that.
That's one of the scenes that I'm like, why did that happen? But
it may have just been a little exclamation point on her crazy.
Yeah.
Thinking that she needed to be super clean, so get rid of all the hair, maybe.
That might be it. That's
she
smart.
She was wearing garden gloves or whatever those gloves were. I don't know.
Because she was doing that even with her mom, with everything. She was very germophobic.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. So
that I didn't correlate the two. You're so smart.
No, I'm just guessing. So they didn't outright say that's why, but
I'm sure.
Yeah, so it does pretty much just end with the mom coming in, embracing Pauline, and everybody screaming and crying. And then it just hard cuts done. So we don't know what happens beyond that. Obviously, we can make some assumptions.
Probably would have killed my daughter. I don't know.
I don't know about that. I mean, you've already lost one. Are you gonna? She was not a terrific mother to Pauline. Pauline obviously had some very mental problems that needed attention.
Yeah, she definitely needed more help than just seeking who she thought could help, like the psychiatrist or whatever.
I was really hoping that that she would have had that one session with the other psychologist that they did.
Yeah.
I was hoping that they would have learned something, like she was dangerous or whatever.
Or
whatever, because they had to be pretty naive to not know that their daughter was
this
not
far gone.
Right. Yeah, this far gone. Because I mean, there's teen angst, and then there's what Pauline was, which was well beyond
She
the
definitely
pale.
needed help.
Yes. There was one terrific scene in there though where Grace was looking through a bridal magazine, and she was saying that she hopes that she lives long enough to get married, and there was just some banter between Pauline and Grace, and then
if I ever do get married someday, I want you to be my maid of honor.
And something sort of like a little glimmer of hope came into Pauline, like she might have had a turning point there. But
I honestly think that was the point where she was like, I'm going to do everything to save my sister.
Yeah, and she blindly went forward with her plan, not knowing the dangers or the consequences.
The outcome,
Yeah, that's just too bad because Grace was such a adorable character, and she was just trying to experience life. They were at some, what was that that thing that they were at, the formal thing that they were at? What was that thing called?
Oh, I wrote it down. Cotillion?
Okay, so they were at a cotillion event or whatever, and it was funny because that's for like 13 to 16-year-olds, and she's
18.
Pauline is supposed to be 18. So anyway, there was a point where Grace was smooching on some guy, and she's just trying to be a teenager, trying to experience things because she knows she's not long for the world. She just wants to do all these things.
Grace Marie, what on earth has gotten into you?
I'm vulnerable right now.
And she had an internet boyfriend for a while, and she was bummed that they broke up. And her mom came in and was like, "What are you doing, Grace? You know, you're." So it was cute to see this character just being a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That's what's missing in so much cinema these days. It's like they write these characters that are so dumb or so just not typical of what a actual person would do. And this movie really felt like these were real people in this real situation, and it was awkward and it was uncomfortable.
Yes, a lot of awkward
Oh my
scenes.
goodness.
Ton of awkward scenes.
Yes, especially when Pauline and Adam were
That's exactly what I'm thinking of.
their date, they had sex
And
he didn't enjoy part of it. Why?
because she wanted to lose her virginity on her period.
To ensure that she would not get pregnant. No way.
But that's not even true because you can still get pregnant on your period. So don't try it.
Yes, girls. Listen to Belinda. She knows.
I didn't do that, but
It's possible.
It
you
is
can.
possible.
Yeah. And gentlemen, don't buy the Magnum XLs to try and show off if you don't fit in a Magnum XL, because you're just screwing it up. Anyway.
But she told him though, straight up.
The character, okay, so Pauline's character was so almost endearing because she was so like just upfront and honest to the point of awkward, where it was, she just saw things for black and white what they were.
Exactly.
Like,
Pick me up Monday at noon.
Teacher workday?
That's right, Adam. Teacher workday. I'll tell my mother we're in a study group.
Good. So, you can...
she tried to put this condom on him, and she was like, "You're too small for this condom." And he got all like mad, and she's like, "No, that's good because it won't hurt me as much." And it's like she's just so pragmatic about it. She's just so just matter of fact, and she's just like, "Okay, now let's do this."
Yep.
And if all people were like that, I mean, obviously life would be boring, but at least it wouldn't be difficult.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You'd know straight on like what you're dealing with.
Yeah. But yeah, it would be weird. Because sometimes the game is fun, you know, the butterflies, you don't know what's going on. It's kind of interesting. And especially when you're losing your virginity, I don't think that's the time to be pragmatic. I think that's the time to be unsure
Just like,
and just enjoy the experience in the moment.
Yes.
Anyway, okay, so we totally didn't answer that question. Does it work?
What?
Well, wait a minute. I need you to define what this movie is. Like, what genre is this movie? Is it a horror film? Because I don't really think it's a horror film.
I wouldn't put it as a horror either.
I mean, it's definitely psychological.
Definitely psychological. I think because it's gory, possibly. Some scenes.
Whatever Silence of the Lambs is, that's what this is.
Yeah, it
so
has to
if
be.
you want to call it Silence of the Lambs had a lot of like mystery and it doesn't really. Whatever it is, it's a psychological thriller horror.
It was good though.
It was great.
It was great.
All right. So does it work as a psychological thriller horror?
I think so.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah. I think that in the beginning you're very confused as a viewer because you don't understand these characters because it's not like these dumb films that like explain everything to you and show you right away this is this person.
Yeah.
You kind of have to learn who these people are through the film, and then you kind of understand. Oh, I get it. I'm seeing what's happening here, and that organic experience of finding out who these characters are. That's what makes this film nice.
Yeah.
So I say it totally works. Totally works as a thriller. Totally works as a film. I wish more filmmakers would make films like this because this was an enjoyable film. All right then.
I would like to see what happens.
Well,
next.
I'm almost absolutely certain there will never be a sequel to this.
Possibly not.
But you know what? It's also nice to know that they don't tell you exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Like if they would show you at the end where Pauline is sitting in a white room by herself in a mental institute and they just slowly pan the camera out forever. I mean, I think we can assume that's what's going to be happening.
Yeah.
We can assume that this mother is going to lose her crap, just lose it completely, and that marriage is over.
Oh, yeah.
Bob was never really into it all that much anyway. So
Bob was trying.
Well, Bob just was
But
Bob.
she was just...
Bob didn't want to divorce her because it would be more expensive, and, he was just in a loveless marriage, sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, he was sleeping on that couch.
Well then, I guess the last question I need to ask you is not one you can answer, because the question is, if you were to recommend this film to anyone, any normal person, I feel like I'm sitting in the wrong place, whatever. How many alcoholic beverages would it take to purely enjoy this film?
Well, I did it without any.
Well, look at you.
So
0.
0.
Okay. I had a few, but I don't think I needed them because this film is a film watcher's film. This is not a film for you if you love Transformers 4.
Yeah.
If you really love Fast and Furious, this is not a film you're really going to enjoy.
No.
If you like watching films for what they are, which is good writing, good acting, good directing, then this is a great film for you, and you want to watch it uninebriated. You want to watch every line and maybe see all the characters doing all the things that they're doing.
I think it would be a lot cooler, though, if you did have a few.
I did, but I definitely didn't need it. I don't think I enjoyed it more because I had had a few drinks. I think that it was a situation where I stopped the movie a couple times just to explain a couple things to you because she didn't know a couple of the actors, and I wanted to. Well, no. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that I did a little bit of research on this film before. Yeah, I tend to. And I wanted you to kind of have perspective of these characters and the actors and how they happen to be in this film, and to show Tracy Lords in a film where she's actually acting kind of well.
Yeah, she had a decent role. She played that role pretty well.
She did, and there were a couple times where she went over the top, but it was kind of like warranted for her to go over the top. And that's hard to do sometimes when you have an actor who's not classically trained or whatever, and you're trying to make them do something that's just extreme. To direct that person to do that is sometimes very, very difficult. But this was done extremely well.
It was great.
And so I absolutely recommend this film. 0 drinks, you don't need any. But I would also suggest that maybe you watch it by yourself, because if you watch it with a group, or you watch it with, somebody who likes to ask a lot of questions in films and stuff like that, you might miss some of the nuances that are going on in the acting.
Yeah, you do have to pay attention just to get it.
Yeah,
just to get it.
And some people might be put off initially by how ugly they made the main protagonist girl, the Pauline. But there's a reason why she's ugly. I mean, there's the reason why she doesn't fit in, or she's just doesn't care about her appearance, because that's not important to her character.
She's just straightforward.
That's it. That's what she is.
She doesn't have to look good to be a surgeon.
All right. Well, Belinda, I want to thank you for coming all this way again.
Thank you for having me.
and to do this 20th episode of Models and Movies. And behind us, you're seeing a few images that we took that were, loosely inspired by this film, directly inspired by this film. And thank you for believing in my vision of those images. Belinda's great. She basically does any dumb idea I have. And
It's fun.
so again, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you'll see the 21st episode coming in March for St. Patrick's Day. So happy Valentine's Day, everybody, and see you next time.